Hi, you're watching Nicole in a Nutshell. I'm Nicole in case you didn't know, and this is my Draw My Life. I hope you like this video. If you do, please give it a thumbs up, and don't forget to subscribe if you aren't already. Just a quick warning for mature content involving serious topics related to depression, and it gets a little real, so if you're sensitive to these topics, it might be best if you tune out, friend. But it's not all depressing. There are happy bits too. Alright, here we go. My story starts on the 12th day of the 12th month in 1990 on a chilly but sunny day in Lakewood, California. As you can see, I was born with my writer's thinking cap, which every writer needs for inspiration, so I was ahead of the game naturally. The stork dropped me off to a very lucky mom named Heather and father named Edward, and I was lucky enough to have an older brother named Eddie. He's 4 years older than me. I can't remember exactly how young I was when my parents split, but I took it really hard. I remember at daycare I hid under a table crying and refused to come out until they called my dad to pick me up. There was another time at a Girl Scout event. I remember we were day camping to prepare for a weekend trip, and I just sat in the tent crying about my parents separating. I just remember feeling hurt and not really understanding why. But I ended up feeling better and getting used to the new arrangement, and I still saw my dad every other weekend and could call him whenever I wanted, so I guess that was helpful. The good news is, my parents remained good friends since splitting, which probably was the best way to help the transition. Even to this day, my parents are friends, and we still do holidays together. I'm beyond grateful for this. When I was about 3 or 4, I met my best friend Alicia because my older brother and her older brother were best friends. I didn't even know Brian had a little sister until one day his mom came to pick him up when I was playing outside by myself. I jumped behind a potted tree we had in our front yard when they pulled up. His mom went inside and the little girl waited on my front steps. That's when I came out from behind the tree, like, who is this kid? And said, hi! Since then we've been best friends. I was about 7 when I started writing for the first time. I was so proud of them. My first written work was called A Tragedy in Time, about a little girl who got a dog and then ran away, and the little girl had to go find him. I still have that original script. Every time I made a script, I would try to force my friends to act them out with me, and sometimes Alicia would, and sometimes I had my other best friend Krista and her little brother act them out with me too. It was a lot of fun. Maybe I can attribute my early English reading and writing skills toward the Montessori preschool I went to, because early education is so essential for young minds, and it helped a lot with me, at least as far as my imagination went. But when I went to my elementary school, I think I had a hard time adjusting. I was bullied a lot for my weight and braces, which made me very upset and insecure. I felt insignificant because I couldn't get good grades, and I didn't feel smart, and I kind of felt like no one believed in me. So just try to be there for your kids and try to help their confidence. It's pretty essential in the young years. I got such bad grades in reading, in fact, that if I didn't take summer school, I would have failed a grade. I basically thought summer school was the end-all of Loserville, which it's really not. But in my mind, I believed if I went to summer school, I basically failed at life and I would be doomed and stupid forever. I guess I showed signs of anxiety from a young age. Anyway, instead of enlisting me in summer school, my parents put me in a child's reading program at the local city college, where we literally sat in a stark white room with lightwood desks for 5 hours a day and read. You might think this is some kind of torture, but for me, this is where I discovered the wonderful, super amazing, brilliantly magical world of Harry Potter! And it's literally because of J.K. Rowling that I owe my love of reading and writing, because without her books, I would have failed and probably never became a reader or a writer, and I'd totally be a different person today. This was a major turning point in my life. I became obsessed. I love Harry Potter and its world so much that I knew every spell by heart, and I literally believed magic was real. My cousin Gregory still makes fun of me for this. But could you blame me? Leaving the real world to be at Hogwarts was just so much better for me. Middle school was basically more of the same, low confidence, and I felt so alone. This was the first time I realized I was actually depressed. I just felt hollow except for the pain in my heart. All I wanted to do was alienate myself and cry. But when I was about 14, Blizzard Entertainment came out with World of Warcraft, and my older brother became obsessed, and his best friend Brian played too. And then, remember, Brian is my best friend's older brother, and then Alicia began to play too, and somehow all of them managed to convince me to buy the game. So 2 months after WoW came out, I started playing, and I was addicted. I guess I have always been attracted to things that can let me escape the real world. Sometimes the fantasy world feels more like where I'm meant to be. Anyway, believe it or not, this game brought my older brothers and I relationship a lot closer than it ever had before, and it's also the reason I can type as fast as I can. This game was awesome. This game was amazing. It really brought the creativity out of me and flourished my imagination, and for once I wasn't totally terrible at something. But it was totally addicting, and I kind of ditched school like all the time and got in loads and loads of trouble, but I had a system, okay? I ditched for the first half of the school year and then double timed it the second half. It totally worked and I got straight C's, which is what I would have gotten anyway. But kids, I totally don't recommend it. School is important. Just go join a club or something and focus on your classes. Anyway, this game couldn't have come at a better time because my best friend in all the universe moved super far away to Colorado, which made me sad. But we still talked every day through Vent and WoW, so instead of LAN parties at each other's houses, we were just communicating over a headset. It still felt like she was here. I was probably also about 14 when I started writing my main novel, Rayhana, which I'm still finding an agent for today. At 15, I joined martial arts and did Shaolin Kempo for about 3 years before I had to quit because, yeah, adulting is a thing. But it really helped my confidence and I learned a lot and I felt really happy being there because I finally had somewhere I belonged and I totally kick ass. I still visit my sensei whenever I can. Sometime when I was 18, my mom called a family meeting at her house and I already had a sixth sense about what she was going to tell us. She was pregnant, and 9 months later, my little brother Ethan, who is the coolest kid ever, even cooler than me, and has his own YouTube channel, was born on May 14th, 2009. I was so happy to be a big sister, and yes, that's 18 years between my little brother and I, and yes, he is a half-brother, but my dad is actually really good with him too, because remember, my dad still comes to all my birthdays and holidays, and he likes my kid bro just as much as I do, which is a lot. Oh, and did I mention just how cool this kid is? He's also really smart, like seriously, he knows more math than I do. Okay, 2009 I graduated, and sadly had to quit playing WoW, in part because I went to junior college, and mostly in part because I realized if I wanted to take writing seriously, I needed to stop spending all my time in a fantasy land, and get to writing my own fantasy land. I could either spend all my time playing a game, or spend the same amount of time writing, so I choose writing. Yay! So I thrived in both writing and college. I did amazing for once. I loved it. Unlike K through 12, I felt like I could succeed in this environment and I was happy. I even joined 2 clubs and was the most social I had ever been, which was nice. My worlds expanded with knowledge, wisdom, spirituality, friendship, and adventure, and this was where I met my best friends who are all also writers. We formed a writers group amongst the 6 of us and got together like all the time, like 3 or 4 times a week. We'd meet up at local coffee shops and just write, critique, and share ideas. They make me so happy. They're amazing friends and an amazing support system. And on November 8th, 2011, I was feeling super confident in my writing skills, so I wanted to share this passion with the world and help others learn to be creative writers too. So I started this YouTube channel! Yay! But then I got kind of discouraged and stopped for 4 years. But look, I'm back now! On March 18th, 2013, 9:38 p.m., I finished the very first draft of Rayhana at approximately 146,000 words. Yes, that's way too long. I'm so glad I documented that, though. July 15th, 2013, I sent out my very first query letter to Lauren McLeod, and I'm still pitching, so we all know exactly how that turned out. After I had transferred to university, I decided to study abroad in London for the summer of 2014, and it was totally amazing. I never wanted to leave. I even took a weekend trip to Paris, which was nice, but I was super jet lagged by this point. But was having so much fun anyway, and I met Fun for Louis for like 1 second at St. Pancras train station. But I loved London. I didn't want to leave, except I didn't really have a choice. When I got back from London, I entered the Aquarium of the Pacific's poetry contest and won 2nd place, my first actual accolade, which was good. The next year I took 1st place, and the following year I took 4th, which was mostly because I was now in the adult age range versus young adult age range. So new competition, yo. In 2015, I graduated from university with a bachelor's in English creative writing, and I applied for the Masters of Fine Arts in Creative Writing and was denied. I was heartbroken. My life turned bleak before me. My once bright future had come crumbling horribly down. I careened into a pit of despair, misery, and existential crisis. All of my insecurities from once before that said, I was never good enough, I'm really a shitty writer, I'll never be successful, flooded my headspace, and I thought the worst of myself. For the second major time in my life, I knew I was morbidly depressed and my anxiety was at its all-time worst. I could hardly get out of bed. All day long, my heart just beat rapidly against my chest as if it was trying to chisel its way through in a constricting, twisting strikes. For anyone that doesn't believe mental health can cause physical pain is dead wrong. I experienced a very real pain in my heart that all I could do was cry and nothing, I mean nothing, could make the pain go away, no matter how much I wished it would. No matter how much I told myself it was in my head, the very real pain was there whether I liked it or not, whether I told myself it was in my head or not. I'm going to be candidly/uncomfortably honest here and say that sometimes I thought the only way to stop this pain was to do the unthinkable, but like I said, it was only a thought. I knew at the very least, time would fix everything. I stayed in bed all day because the only thing that slightly relieved the pressure in my chest was lying chest down on my mattress, and I watched a bunch of YouTube videos in hopes of distracting myself. These channels actually got a laugh or two out of me. Thank you, you beautiful people. I don't like spreading negativity or being a burden on anyone, so I kept this suffering to myself and I didn't seek any help from anyone because I don't really like the idea of prescription medicine for myself. So if I can avoid it, I do. So I explored more natural methods of dealing with my anxiety and depression, but I urge you, if you're not feeling yourself or you feel lost and depressed, please go seek help from someone. You are not a burden, you are loved, and you are definitely good enough. The super deep depression of feeling too exhausted for even sitting up in my bed lasted about 2 months. And trust me, time went as slow as you could possibly imagine. Each second in those 2 months was an infinity of agony. Anyway, before you knew it, day by day I started to get out of it. Thank God. I knew no matter what that this was temporary and it would not be like this forever. I reminded myself of this 20 million times a day, and it was probably the only thing that kept me going because yeesh, that was rough. I would convince myself every day tomorrow will be better. No matter what, time was on my side and today is ending to be a better tomorrow, and tomorrow will always be a better day than today. Eventually, the agony just seemed to dissipate and I was better with time. In this case, it was approximately 2 long months, but I did it, I got better, and then I got happier. I still didn't really know what to do with my life, but I knew I couldn't do nothing forever, so I got a job. And you'll never guess where? At my old preschool Montessori, where my preschool teacher was now my boss. I love teaching kids so much, but unfortunately the teaching field is incredibly underpaid, so I ended up taking another job where I'm at now, making just enough to adult. So toward the middle of 2015 until the end of 2017 is a part of my life that we're just going to refer to as the void. All these memories, good and bad, belong to the void, and the void is not somewhere I can ever go back to. I needed to leave the void behind me, and that's exactly what I did. That brings us to today. I'm happier than ever. I'm writing again, reading again, pitching again, vlogging and creating again. I feel like myself again. I feel confident in myself and my skills. I have 2 amazing cats. I have so many beautiful friends and an amazing family, and seriously the best support system ever. But best of all, I have a fulfilling, blessed, happy, and balanced life. So that's my life in a nutshell thus far. Stay tuned for the rest of my journey via Nicole in a Nutshell. Please give this video a massive thumbs up, as it took a ton of courage to post, and don't forget to subscribe for more. Thanks so much for watching. I love you all. Have a beautiful day or night wherever you are in the world. Goodbye.